Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Marvin Eastman to defeat Travis Lutter. It may not have landed, but that's still a hell of a punch. You can't deny that. All right, I'm here to talk about the UFC on ESPN 60 main card. The opening fight is Choi versus Bill Algeo. My prediction for this fight is Bill Algeo wins, and I'm going with him winning by decision. I don't know if I've picked a finish on this card yet, just all decisions. But that is my pick, and to be honest, on the flip side, I think if I'm wrong, I'd still think Choi would win a decision before getting a knockout. Although, as I'll get to in a minute or two, there's some more doubts creeping in with some recent fights. But I think Bill Algeo, my pick is based on the fact that his biggest weakness at the UFC level, being relentlessly out wrestled, that's not a path to victory for Choi. Choi might have a takedown or two in him, but not 10 of them. So I think Bill Algeo on that front is getting a potentially favorable matchup. Having said that, on the feet, Choi is still the sharper striker. He's faster. He's got more power, punch for punch anyway. And he's, overall the better athlete, as most of Bill Algeo's opponents are. He's pretty much like the male Lucia Pudilova. But Bill Algeo has good striking. He's got funky, weird striking, halfway to karate, or close to it anyway. But he's got good punches, of course, and we've seen him find success with them in the UFC. T.J. Brown, but he's got tricky knees and good kicks as well. The kicks have brought him some big moments and gotten him some finishes throughout his career, even if one of them was by rear naked choke. But Bill Algeo is historically a very durable guy. He's been finished twice by submission, which I don't think is a big factor here, but just know they were a decade plus, and the last one was the Shane Burgos. So not a lot of shame there. But that's pretty much off the table in my opinion. And the one guy to knock him out is Kyle Nelson. He wasn't knocked dead, but he was knocked silly, perhaps. And I can't say that's off the table because Bill Algeo is halfway to 40 now. And of course, this was his most recent fight. And on top of all that, Choi is a good striker and a dangerous one at that. So there's definitely doubt, but I think Bill Algeo can, if he can stand up to the pressure, to the danger of Choi, which I do think he will, he'll bring the pressure. He'll bring the pressure. He'll be in Choi's face. What the fuck? Let me see this. And I think, hold on a second. All right, I gotta edit this. We're done. Anyway, hope you stood with me there. But I'm picking Bill Algeo to win because I think he's going to be in Choi's face on the feet. And, Choi, like I said, he's the crisper striker, but Bill Algeo is so tough and he's got so many great traits. And I don't think Choi is going to be the guy to slow him down. I think the pace will pick up and Bill Algeo will excel. And Choi, I can't say he's got bad cardio, but he's been finished twice against Charles Jourdain and Jeremy Stevens, whom I should say I consider both of them more powerful than Bill Algeo. So just know I think that. And also against Cub Swanson. I don't want to say he faded. That was the war of all wars. But I still thought Cub was the better man in the end. So there's that. But again, those fights were a career ago. He's gone through another career in the military, come back out, and he's only had the one fight. And of course, it's against the guy that TKO'd Bill Algeo. So a little bit of doubt, but I will say if I'm wrong and Choi wins, despite all the shit I was just saying about danger and knockouts and whatever, I still think his primary path to victory is a decision. Choi. So I've placed a few small bets, and I'm waiting for the props, but my bets are on Bill Algeo and the over at pretty much the same odds, minus 170 and minus 180. And my pick is Bill Algeo wins via decision, so it's not like those are in conflict with each other. And I will wait for the props because, again, I think Choi's primary path to victory is decision. I'm not saying I'll play it, but if it's a juicy line like it is for somebody else I'll talk about later in the card, then yeah, I will play it. Okay, first let me take this moment to acknowledge the green fuzzy shit going on behind me. That's right, I see that. But I am powerless to stop it here. I don't know how to work lighting and green screens and whatever. So I'm just going to sit here like an incompetent dumbass with green shit flying around behind me. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, next fight is Bruno Silva versus Cody Durden. And for this fight, I'm going with Cody Durden winning. And I've got him winning by spinning back elbow in round two. I'm kidding. Decision. I've got him winning another decision. There can't be this many decisions on this card. But still, I think if Cody Durden does win, decision is very likely. He's a versatile fighter. He's got sharp hands and really good grappling skills overall. But his primary asset is his wrestling, and really his relentless wrestling, which takes cardio. And I think that's going to be the difference here in this fight against Bruno Silva. Cody has a record of 16-5. He's got the five losses, which is what I'm interested in. Four of them come via submission, one via decision. We saw him get tapped out by Muhammad Makayev. Of course, he was clubbed and subbed, as they say in that one, meaning he was clipped with a big shot before getting guillotined. He was overwhelmed by Tagir Ulanbekov, got tapped out in round two with a face crank. That's an example of somebody who can win the wrestling battle against Cody Durden and take him completely out of his element. But even somebody who couldn't do that, like Jimmy Flick. Jimmy Flick's always going to lose that battle. But Jimmy Flick has such a dangerous submission game that he was able to catch Cody Durden, even though Cody looked like he could have tapped him earlier. And then he's got another loss to this journeyman, Ryan Hollis, who got him out of there 6 years ago with a rear naked choke in round two as well. So it's his primary path to defeat Cody Durden's submissions. And Bruno Silva's not lost there. Of course, he's the only guy to ever submit Tyson Nam. Got that done in his last fight, even though he was very close to being the fifth guy or whatever to knock him out, which still would have been very impressive. But yeah, the way he won that fight was incredible. The way he fought that fight. He looked really sharp there, as good as he's ever looked. And that was a statement. He's on a 3-fight winning streak, but the other two wins are over Victor Rodriguez and JP Bays. Not the best guys. Still got two solid TKOs. But you know what? The victory over JP Bays is canceled out because Cody Durden got the same victory anyway. He knocked him out in a minute. So but still, he does have a good amount of momentum. Before that, he was on a 2-fight losing streak to Tagir Ulanbekov and David Dvorak. David Dvorak's a very good fighter. He may have fallen off a little bit. I don't even know if he's still in the UFC, but very good fighter, David Dvorak. And of course, before that, he did lose to Khalid Taha. Khalid Taha, I don't know why I'm forgetting how to say his name, but he submitted him with an arm triangle choke deep in the fight in round three, which I believe is Taha's only submission victory. Or it was taken away from him, but it was for like 5 seconds. And I don't think Cody's going to go through him on the ground. That's the only time he's ever been submitted, Bruno Silva, aside from the Ultimate Fighter exhibition fight, which may as well count on your pro record, where he got guillotined, I believe. But still, Cody Durden winning by decision is my pick here because I think the ground game will be the difference, but Cody won't have that finishing touch where he won't be able to get Bruno out of there. Bruno's a pretty tough guy. He's well-rounded, got good cardio as well, and I think Cody Durden will be interested in slowing this fight down. On the feet, Cody Durden's got sharp hands. I really like his striking. Again, he was clipped by Muhammad Makayev, but I still think he's got excellent striking, Cody Durden. And Bruno Silva, he's a dangerous guy. More powerful, I'd say. Sharp leg kicks. Was giving Tagir Ulanbekov hell early in their fight. And yeah, he's definitely a problem overall. But again, I'm going with Cody Durden not being threatened by the danger of Bruno Silva, and if he is, going through it and winning a wrestling battle. It's a fight we've seen him win before. He's taken out some good prospects in the UFC, and here, I don't know if Bruno is a prospect or whatever, but I think he's going to win another hard-earned decision victory with multiple takedowns. So Cody is the pick. Cody is the bet. And I will wait for the props because, again, I think decision is most likely by far for Cody Durden's path to victory. Okay, I did just look at the prop bets which were just released, and Cody Durden winning by decision is plus 130. So I wouldn't play that because the money line is tight enough where I'd feel more confident in that anyway. If they beefed it up a little bit, then I'd play it. But as of now, sticking with the money line. Next fight is Kanon Kruschewsky taking on Kurt Holobaugh. And my prediction for this fight is Kanon Kruschewsky wins by decision. And my bet so far, since the props have been released, is Kurt Holobaugh winning by knockout at plus 350 and Kanon Kruschewsky winning by decision at plus 275. There will be a bet where they have both options, either or, for a shittier price, obviously, but that's not available yet. So I put a small bet on each one of them, on each one of their props. I think if Kanon wins this fight, it is by decision. Kurt Holobaugh's a very tough guy to get out of there, but he's an easier guy to smother, as we saw against Trey Ogden, and we've seen it before as well. He's only been finished twice, once by knockout against Ione Barcelos in round 3, and once by submission to Shane Burgos. I was at that fight. Kanon Kruschewsky's been finished twice as well, and they were both by knockout. We saw the last one against Elvis Brenner where he was knocked dead, knocked down face first. And his other one was a knockout as well. So just that's his profile. The way to beat him is going through his chin. And Kurt Holobaugh, while he may not be the most physically imposing guy or whatever, he's a dangerous striker, dangerous grappler as well. Kurt Holobaugh, that's why I love watching him fight. Really tough to get out of there and a versatile fighter. He's like a Chris Lytle. Toughest guy ever, by the way, if you know Chris Lytle. But anyway, Kurt Holobaugh has what it takes to go through any sort of a fragile chin, and that's why I felt confident in the bet there. But the pick is still Kanon. I hope I'm saying his name right. I know his last name is Kruschewsky, but, whatever. If I don't watch his footage a minute before I make this video, I'm going to lose it. Kruschewsky, though, I think he is bigger. That's the one thing I do know, but I do think he can smother Kurt Holobaugh. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, Kanon, and he's actually a 9th degree black belt in Muay Thai, which I cannot even begin to tell you how important that is, because I have no fucking clue what that even means, frankly. But still, it sounds impressive and might be an asset. But on the feet, I do think he's limited. 9th degree black belt withstanding. I think he's sharp early on, but fades, and he's not the best athlete to begin with. And I think Kurt Holobaugh would rough him up in a kickboxing bout, But Kanon Kruschewsky still, he is coming off a knockout loss and a bad one to Elvis Brenner. I'm sure his biggest concern about himself is his chin. And kind of like we saw with Andre Petrosky, I think he's thinking of getting on top of Kurt Holobaugh, especially if he and his coaches have seen Kurt Holobaugh's losses, especially that last one, and I'm sure they have. So the pick is Kanon Kruschewsky finding his way on top of Kurt Holobaugh, which, it could just be with pressure. Kurt Holobaugh's a guy who will sometimes just accept that position. And he's very crafty off his back, but that's not going to work for you every time. And Kurt Holobaugh, I'm sure he's going to be trying to keep the fight standing. He doesn't want to be smothered. I heard an interview with him saying, this guy's going to bring it. He's not going to try to smother me. He might. You got to be careful. But I know Kurt's going to be doing everything he can to keep this standing and try to go through that chin, because he and his coaches have seen the knockout losses of Kruschewsky. I fucking had it like 4 times, and then at the end I botched it. But still, I'm leaning towards Kruschewsky. I think his physicality and his tactics will find him a victory by decision. That is the pick, and the bets are going every which fucking way. All right, next up we have Seungwoo Choi versus Steve Garcia. My prediction for the fight is Garcia wins, and I've got him winning via knockout. And I'm actually serious this time. But I do think if Seungwoo Choi is to win, his primary path to victory is a decision, even over knockout. And I have bet on that because it's sitting at plus 800. So that warrants a few small bets from me. I think I still think he should lose Seungwoo Choi via knockout because he's been knocked around lately. Got knocked out by Trezano and looked shaky a lot as of late, especially in the Josh Holobaugh fight where I thought he was going to be TKO'd. And if he should find himself in any sort of danger against Steve Garcia, it's that's a shark, and he's going to devour you. So I don't envision him losing to Steve Garcia in any other way but knockout. Although I'll say this, neither guy has a submission, but if either guy was to get a submission, it'd be Steve Garcia. And I actually thought he could have won via submission against Melchizedek Costa. He was close, but the TKO prevailed. Still, though, Seungwoo Choi, I think the value on him winning via decision is because even though he's not a good wrestler, he's good on top, and I think he could stuff the guard of Steve Garcia and smother him. And on the feet, I do think he's dangerous, first of all, which doesn't really lend itself to a decision victory. My point is he could knock out Garcia as well. But I also think on the feet, he's got more doubt in himself with being knocked around lately and knocked out. And I think he's going to be against Steve Garcia, who is not Jarno Aarons. He's going to be trying to fight a wiser fight and slow this fight down and take away the danger of Steve. So maybe we'll see some actual wrestling from Seungwoo Choi. But historically, when he gets on top of you, it's because he knocked it down, chopped you down with leg kicks, or you made a mistake and kind of bumped into him and conceded top position. He's only gotten a few takedowns. A nice judo throw. Even that, though, Jarno Aarons kind of gave himself to Seungwoo Choi. And he also ripped Josh Holobaugh to the mat in the end. He's got it in him, but he's got to go in there with that mentality. I'd like to see that be plan A for Seungwoo Choi. And hopefully against Steve Garcia, it's plan A because, again, plus 800, him winning by decision. But Steve Garcia could be knocked out as well. He's only been knocked out once. It was the Mahashate in 1 minute in the UFC. But he's still been hurt. And I do think with somebody as dangerous as Seungwoo Choi, knockout is certainly on the table. So Garcia's got to watch out to try not to go total seek and destroy here because he's fighting a very dangerous guy in Seungwoo Choi. He's got the power that can turn the fight around on a dime. But still, this is fighting's a lot about trends and whatever, and Steve Garcia's got a lot of momentum. He's a very potent finisher, and he's shown so in the UFC level. And I love that he got 2 round 2 finishes consecutively over Shailon Nurbandeke and Melchizedek Costa, who each fought each other in their last fights. I don't know why I'm bringing that up. Ignore that. But I think Steve Garcia is that dangerous, and I think against Seungwoo Choi on the feet, he's going to be getting to him eventually. If not clipping that chin, ripping that body, slowing him down, and getting the better of a brawl. That's the Steve Garcia specialty, and it's a fight he typically does not lose. And especially against a guy who's been knocked around lately, it's a fight he should win, Steve Garcia. So that is the pick. These guys are fighting on the feet, and Garcia wins via TKO. But I would love to be wrong and have Seungwoo Choi win via decision because plus 800. So either way, I'm wasting some fucking money on this one because props drew me in. But again, the pick is Steve Garcia. In the co-main event, we have Junyoung Park versus Brad Tavares. My prediction for this fight is Junyoung Park wins. I could certainly see him winning by knockout, and a decision wouldn't surprise me. Although, with a gun to my head, I'd go with a knockout. And as for Brad Tavares, I think for sure you can isolate his path to victory to one thing, and that's decision. So if you're going to play Brad, you can beef it up a little bit with decision. Junyoung Park, he's got a record of 17-6. He's only been knocked out once, and it was the Gregory Rodriguez who knocked out Brad Tavares in his last fight, ironically. But that is an exceptional loss. Gregory Rodriguez hits harder than just about anybody. And that was actually a fight that Junyoung Park was seconds away from winning. He almost knocked out Gregory himself. But with that power, Rodriguez was able to turn the fight around on a dime. He was also submitted twice, Junyoung Park, to some good fighters. Shavkat Rakhmonov got him out of there before he got to the UFC, and that was with a rear naked choke. And then he got tapped with an anaconda choke to Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, who is one of the better cardio grapplers in the UFC. I love watching that guy fight. And that's it as far as him getting finished. Other than that, though, he's got 3 losses, all via decision. The last of which came against Andre Muniz, in which he was taken down 45 times. Don't quote me on that, but I think it was 45 times in a 15-minute fight. It was insane. But that is not a path to victory for Brad Tavares. If Brad's going to win a decision, it's not going to be by neutralizing him on the ground. It's going to be by outpointing him on the feet, by being the sharper kickboxer. And I do think there's actually, I can't say there's value on it because I would have bet on it, but I do think there's a decent chance that happens for Brad. If Brad is able to stand up to the power of Jun Young Park, and Jun is more dangerous and durable. So that's why I favor him in general. But if he's able to stand up to that knockout threat and take away that whole grappling threat, I think Brad Tavares would win the small moments and win the kickboxing battle. Emphasis on the kick. But again, there's too much doubt overall in Brad Tavares. And even if this fight did go the distance, while I would favor Brad to win that fight without any big moments, of course, with big moments, whoever got those typically wins. And I'd go with Jun. But with no big moments, I still think Jun Young Park could pressure, crowd the kicks of Brad Tavares, and win that type of kickboxing bout with his pressure, combined with his power, which is an asset. And I always say power can win decisions as well. It's been known to happen. Still, though, the more versatile fighter is Jun Young Park. And I don't think he can submit Brad Tavares. Brad's never been submitted as a pro, an amateur, or in exhibition fights or whatever. But I do think Jun Young Park, if he can get on top of Brad, he can score some points there. We've seen it happen. You know, Gregory Rodriguez fight didn't end via knockout, then he would have scored some points with some takedowns, with some control. It's happened here and there, but to be honest, I don't see Jun Young Park winning that wrestling battle. I think Brad's got good anti-wrestling, and I think he'll be able to force this one to stay standing. So even though I just speculated on Brad Tavares winning a decision, I do still favor Jun Young Park overall. He's got the traits on his side, and of course the youth and whatever the fuck else. And I think it's a favorable matchup for Jun Young Park. So Jun Young Park winning is the pick. I'm torn between knockout or decision. Even though he's a good submission artist, I just in my head don't consider that a possibility here. And I have bet on Jun Young Park. I bet on his money line because the odds are so tight. And as for Brad Tavares, I haven't bet on him. But if I was going to, it'd be by decision. Because that is 99% of his paths to victory in this fight. With the other 1% being a knockout. In the main event of the evening, we have Amanda Lemos versus Virna Jandiroba. My prediction for the fight is Virna Jandiroba wins by decision. I have to give you a method of victory because you got a gun to my head, so I'll go with a decision. But this is a fight between two girls who are big threats in polar opposite directions. So on that front, a finish wouldn't surprise me at all, especially in the second half of the fight. And you bet your ass I wasted some money on those props. TKOs for Amanda Lemos and submission for Virna Jandiroba. Of course, Virna's never been finished. She does have 3 losses. Each girl's got 3 losses. But Virna lost all 3 of them by decision and to girls who, in one way or another, could slow down her grappling, take away that advantage. Amanda Hibosh, Mackenzie Dern, and Carla Esparza. Those are the 3 girls to beat Virna. And Amanda Lemos, she's not the worst grappler out there overall, but she's not going to win the grappling battle here against Virna Jandiroba. Unless she gets her dead tired from beating the shit out of her and then puts her in a guillotine choke. I suppose that's possible. She did tap out Michelle Wooderson, which is a great victory. But Lemos has 3 losses, 1 via knockout, 1 via submission, 1 via decision. The submission loss comes to Jessica Andrade. It's a standing arm triangle choke. Virna Jandiroba is a bigger submission threat than Jessica Andrade altogether, and a much better grappler, plain and simple. But I don't know if she could even pull that one off with Andrade. Andrade has that next level of strength and physicality, and she's just the most dangerous woman. I remember saying when she fought Amanda Lemos that this is a fight between the two most dangerous women in the weight class, and whoever wins is going to be queen. And it turns out it was Jessica Andrade. But again, that fight was not finished on the ground. It was a standing arm triangle choke, even though she dropped to her ass and whatever. And that is a very, very unique submission. Only time that's ever been pulled off in the UFC, I believe. Although Matt Riddle came close, but he ripped the guy to the mat. But Amanda Lemos also has one TKO loss. I don't think that's a big path to victory for Virna Jandiroba, but I may as well mention it. Her loss was to Leslie Smith, who is the female Diaz brother, or the Diaz sister, one might say, if he wasn't fucking stupid. And she's a Diaz, where if you don't have that athletic and physicality advantage, and she's the bigger girl, which Lemos moved up in weight and took the fight on short notice, under those circumstances, it allowed the female Diaz to shine, and she got beaten up there and TKO'd. It was some shitty circumstances, but just a bad matchup. And her one decision loss comes to Weili Zhang via 5-round decision. And having rewatched that fight last, I think that's what influenced my pick. I probably always decide based on whatever last fight I watch. But look, she's a better fighter than Virna Jandiroba. Weili Zhang, a much better fighter and a much better threat altogether. But on the ground, Virna Jandiroba is better with her grappling anyway. So as far as getting the submission, I'd say she's more of a threat than Weili Zhang is, even though Weili Zhang's an excellent fucking submission artist. If you don't believe me, go ask Carla Esparza. Still, though, this is a fight between two polar opposite fighters. And I do think if either one of them gets caught slipping, either one of them has cardio issues, this will end via finish. Because especially on the feet, Virna is not bad. She makes it work for her, but she is out of this fight with Amanda Lemos on the feet. Amanda Lemos is just too dangerous, too sharp, and she's just more powerful. She's going to be the much better striker than Virna Jandiroba. Jandiroba did have a knockdown over Amanda Hibash, but that's it for her as far as her danger goes. Her striking is very rudimentary, and it's a means to an end for her to get the fight to the ground. And that is what I'm picking to happen. I think Virna Jandiroba is definitely an above-average takedown artist in the UFC. She's a very good takedown artist, and I think she's going to be able to strike her way into takedowns against Amanda Lemos and find a way to control Lemos and slow the fight down, or maybe speed it up and work for a submission. What do I know? That is the pick. I bet on Virna Jandiroba as well because the money line is so tight. But like I said, I wasted money on props already. Rounds 3, 4, and 5 finishes for each fighter. Nothing big, just sprinkles. But that's just showing my respect for the potential for a finish in this fight because it is definitely there. Lemos is a fucking killer. Like I said, the most dangerous girl out there in the weight class aside from Jessica Andrade. I don't even know what fucking weight class she's in these days. And Virna Jandiroba, despite being on a good decision streak, I'm not going to forget her danger. She's a solid submission artist. Still every bit the threat she was when she came into the UFC. She was breaking arms and whatever. And here, with her pressure, if the fight is going her way, that submission threat will become more likely as the fight goes on. And that's assuming she's ripping her to the mat every time, which I don't think will happen. I think this is going to be a close fight, but still, Virna Jandiroba's grappling will carry her to a victory. That's the prediction. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos. And hit the notification bell or whatever the fuck they tell you to say. I don't know.